Come 91, we were in Pune, and father was keen that we come down to see him in Vrindavan. So we drove down in summer of 91. Coming to Vrindavan, we found a lot of activities going on. People going in and out of Trai with files, drawings. So I asked my father, I said, what happened? So father said that the earlier team of expatriate engineers and experts have been asked to leave. They said that they could not complete the project, and Swami is taking it over himself. So, fine, I was very keen to be part. So I asked General Mahadevan, who was then state president of Tamil Nadu, and a good friend of my father. I said, Uncle, is there any chance of being involved in the project? I said, even if it means a bit of the compound wall of the hospital, even that is good enough, just to be part of the project. He said, no, everything is taken care of, it's all been settled, and, it's just a question of, them handing over drawings and stuff like that. All right. I was very keen, but so be it. And I had an urgent work in Pune, and I had to leave for a day or two. So my father said, leave your family, leave the car in Vrindavan, take a train to Pune, finish your work and come back. I said, fine. I left in the afternoon, reached Pune early morning, went home around 8:15 or 8:30 in the morning. I get a phone call from a trunk call from my father saying that we had just come out from the interview room. Swami has given us the job of supervising the super specialty hospital. So drop everything and come immediately. Come to Chennai, where we have to meet the L&T people in their head office. You're supposed to take charge of all the drawings and check whether everything is there. If not, then you have to prepare the drawings. So as I was about trying to leave, he said, no, don't come to Chennai. You come to Bangalore. We are already in Chennai. Colonel Jogarao and my father was in Chennai in the L&T office. He said, we are going back to Vrindavan. You come straight to Bangalore and you meet us there. So I came. And so apparently what had happened was Swami had called, darshan was over, and people were just, my family, my wife, my mother were going away outside, when suddenly one of the boys, Hirok Chankakoti, he came running and said, Swami is calling you all. So my wife thought that, my parents should go. So my father and mother, he said, no, he told, my wife says, no, Swami's called you also. So they all went back and to the interview. Swami had called them for an interview and told my father that, I want you to take charge of the hospital. And I want your son to also be part of that. And he asked my wife, he said, if I give your husband work, will you allow? And she said, of course. And she, without batting an eyelid. And it was so instant that my father and friend looked at and said, how did you say that, without even thinking? You've got two small school-going children and you have to manage for the next 6 months. He says, this is something, it's not once in a lifetime. I don't know what to say, that this is a chance that she knew that how keen I was. And so she said, come what may, this is a chance that cannot be missed under any circumstances. So when my father told me to come, first thing I asked him, I said that, what about my wife? And he said, oh, she's already given the go-ahead. Swami asked her. And this is what is, most intriguing. Swami, the Lord of the universe, has to ask an ordinary devotee permission for her husband to work. He could have just said, do it, and we would have done it without hesitation. There was no need for him to, do this. But that is the humility of Swami. It was absolutely stunning. Till this day, it brings tears to my eyes, really. I'm so overcome that Swami had to do that, for us. And so we went through the hospital. It was a very tough 6 months. It was tough on all sides, She had to manage a household independently in Pune, and we had a very short period within which to get the hospital ready. And so that's another completely uh, long story of the how the construction took place and how we managed to actually um, get it ready by the time as Swami had ordained. So that's how it went, and
Yeah, but please do go on and share with us that story of the hospital.
that's a long story.
Yes, yeah, sure.
So Swami blessed us, blessed my father and myself in Vrindavan, and said, "Okay." So he told my father that you go there and take charge. See, the foreigners had already left, and so there was nobody in charge of the project. L&T, Larsen and Toubro engineers were already appointed by the previous group. That is from, I would say, December of 1990. They were already given the job of constructing the hospital. But not much visible progress was seen. Uh, so Swami was concerned, and he kept asking Colonel Jogarao that, go and find out what is going on there. So Colonel Jogarao would go there and meet the management of the project manager and ask them, look, I can't see anything. Now this is January, February, nothing visible was seen except a few pillars here and there. And here Swami has already said that the whole hospital has to be inaugurated by November. So they kept telling Colonel Jogarao that don't worry, sir, it'll be done. But he came back unconvinced because he's himself an engineer, an experienced engineer. So you can't just say anything. And he would report it to Swami. Come early April, when the earlier team came to Swami and said, Swami, we are unable to complete the project in time. The project budget has also gone beyond our earlier estimate, and we don't have that kind of funds to complete the project. And we also can't finish it in time. So Swami said, fine, don't worry, then y'all go. Swami will get it completed. So they said that, Swami, we have already some of the expatriate engineers, very experienced people. We have already given them an advance salary, and it's a contract, and we have already paid, a substantial amount of the contract sum to them. So I suggest that you keep them. They're experienced people, and so let them continue with the project. So Swami said, no, let all of them go. I don't want any of them from any of the earlier team members to stay. We will go. So he was asked that who will do it? Who will take care of the project? Swami said, my devotees. So they went away unconvinced, that what devotees? How can they, it's a highly specialized work, and you're sending away experienced engineers, and we are going to replace them with devotees. All right. Since Swami told them to go, they went. So on around third week of May, Swami asked us, has told my father, that you go there, you take formal charge of the whole project, and then execute it as per a timeline that you agreed to. All right. So he gave us Path Pranam previous day, said next morning leave. So I had my car, and so my father and I left Vrindavan for Parthi. As we were leaving, one of the watchmen in Vrindavan said, Rajiv Gandhi mar gaya. So we felt sad, but our aim was to reach Puttaparthi. And so we came out of Vrindavan ashram, about 5-6 kilometers from the ashram. Those days it was not developed at all. And we were stopped by a group of villagers, some of them who seemed to be intoxicated, saying that you can't go. We are stopping all traffic. Father was trying to argue that, let us go. We are going to Puttaparthi. They wouldn't listen to us, and they were all speaking in Kannada. And one of them started removing the air from my rear tire of my car. So I told my father, I said, Father, if they do that, we are stuck. We can't do anything. So let's go back to Vrindavan and report to Swami and wait for his instructions. So we came back to Vrindavan and informed Swami. Swami said, don't go until I tell you. I will tell you when to go. So we stuck around in Vrindavan for 3 days. And each day we would wait for Swami to tell us, and he wouldn't. Then finally, on the fourth day, he said, okay, you can go now. Later on, we realized that that was the day of Rajiv Gandhi's funeral. And uh, any vehicles coming on in Andhra, the villagers were throwing stones at it. So only after the funeral was over that, things seemed to cool down. So anyway, we came first to the super specialty hospital site, and we were actually dismayed to see that construction was going on, but mainly in the staff housing, not on the main hospital building. And we were absolutely aghast that the Swami has said that the hospital has to be inaugurated, and there was work going on. It's not that there was, but more on the staff side than on the hospital side. And later on, we got to know that the contractors, L&T, were not given clear instructions as to what to do, because there were some crucial decisions that had to be taken regarding plumbing and some of the levels that had to be decided. There was nobody to give them those instructions, and therefore they did what they did the housing part. So anyway, we took charge, and Swami told me to go there and report back to me what is the status there. So after a few days, I went back to pick up my family, drop them to Pune. And in the meantime, Swami called me and asked me how many people are there, what is the strength of labors, what is this, is that, everything, all details he wanted to know, which I told him. We went back to Pune just to drop my family because Swami asked me to come back to Bangalore within a few days. He was going to inaugurate the Apollo Malaya Hospital. And that had state-of-art ICUs and other facilities which were going to come up in the super specialty hospital. And Swami wanted myself and Mr. Sham Sundar Tulani, the electrical engineer of our team, to see and understand what are the services and what needs to be done. And with us was, of course, Dr. Bhatt from the urology, noted urology, he and Mrs. Bhatt. So we all saw that Swami was there, Swami blessed, and we came away and came back with Colonel Jogarao to Parthi. So that's how work went on, and went on, with a lot of obstacles. I was quite naive to think that when Swami has said that hospital will be ready by November, things will just be smooth and nothing untoward will happen, no obstacle. There will just be, one thing after the other. And it wasn't so. There was problems galore. Every day there were problems. You can imagine how, in a short period of time, we had to get things organized. Puttaparthi 33 years ago was not the Puttaparthi of today. There was nothing, even a screw. If you ran out of a simple screw, we had to go to Kotacheru or, Dharmavaram or Anantapur. Nothing was available. No hardware shop in Puttaparthi. So it carried on, and there were all kinds of problems. The doctors were not happy with, and we submitted to the doctors. They wanted changes. We told them that you had already signed on it. He said, "Yeah, I signed it, but your drawings are all in meters, and I don't understand meters. So I approved it, but now when I see it physically, it is too small. You have to make it bigger." So in an RCC, when the columns are up, you can't stretch it. Anyway, we had to find solutions. The doctors had to be satisfied, and the work also had to go down. We can't demolish anything. There was no time to make any design changes. So it was a very, very challenging time. Came the day, 2 days, the hospital was to be inaugurated on 22nd of November, and the cath lab on the 21st. And on the 20th of November, the Dutch head of medical equipment, he used to keep coming before. I had seen him as well. And he came and knocked on our door and said that, please come, I've seen a miracle. Please come to the hospital. It was past 9 at night. My father was too tired. He said, no. He asked me that you go and see what he's so excited about. So we came to the hospital, and we went straight to the angio cath lab. And he said, I'll show you something. See, in those days, the entire procedure was recorded on a 70 millimeter film. It was, so he showed me the film that was, the earlier that day. It was the first angiogram was done on a patient who happened to be a student who had a blockage, and he showed me, they, as you probably know, that they inject a dye and then they see that, and he told me that, can you see these vessels? I said yes. He said this is few microns thick, so he told me that I have done installation of similar equipment all over the world, but never have I seen a resolution of this kind. So to me, this is a gold standard. And if I can replicate this gold standard elsewhere, for me, that is the ultimate. And this is, for me, it's a miracle. There is no way that it could have happened. So to go back, what had actually happened was the Philips company of Holland was given a turnkey project to set up the cath lab. Air India had given permission or had given the facility of transporting medical equipment for our super specialty hospital free of cost. They said that wherever in the world, if the equipment is deposited in New York, London, Zurich, and some other, from there, Air India will fly it to Chennai free of cost, and just to help the thing. So this equipment came from Holland, and it was in Chennai, in our ex former All India president. He had a warehouse there, and so it was kept there, and we were to be brought to Puttaparthi as and when required. 91, we had very, very heavy rainfall, and the roads from Chennai to Puttaparthi were not good. And there were very clear instructions that this is a very sensitive equipment. It must not be exposed to vibrations, and it has to be opened in a sterile atmosphere. No dust, no nothing. And the air conditioning must be on. It has to be sterile. Only then is the equipment to be opened. And because it was a bulky equipment, it couldn't be brought up through the staircase. We had not constructed the external wall of the cath lab. So a crane lifted the entire crate and pushed it into the room to be opened. And then after that, we closed the wall. And they would not allow us to open. They said, no, sterile. Where sterile? Work is going on, plaster is going on, nothing is full of dust. No, our air conditioning was not working. Lights were going on and off. So we forced them. They were not willing to open it. They said, no, we will not stand guarantee. They were convinced that the equipment will completely fail because, whatever conditions they had asked us, we were not able to satisfy. We said, look, we are sprinkling Swami's vibhuti on it. Don't worry, nothing will happen. We'll take the risk. We said, all right, we will give you a letter of indemnity that if anything goes wrong, we will bear all the consequences. So we've literally forced them to open and got them to install. And till the last day, I think the air conditioning was not on, I think. But in spite of that, this is what the resolution. So for them, it was something unbelievable, that it was impossible as far as they were concerned for an equipment to perform in such a way, in such hostile conditions. So for us, it was, we've seen Swami's things happening. So, we just took it for granted that, this is Swami's Leela, this is, and obviously, without Swami's, there was no way that a hospital could be constructed in this way. There absolutely no way. So we were just given the privilege to be part of it. The work was actually done by Swami alone. We were just there for, I don't know for what reason. And another thing was October 91. The opening is just about little more than a month away. We felt that we are running behind schedule and we couldn't think of how the hospital could be open by 22nd of November. Anyway, so the four of us, my father, Mr. N.P. Vittal, who was retired Commissioner of Railway Safety, so Sham Sundar Tolani, and myself, four of us were part of the supervising team. So we had a fixed place during darshan time. So Swami would come, give us path pranam, ask what is the status of work, and then we would leave from there straight to the site, project site. One day he came and he seemed very stern, no smiling, nothing. He said, "Hospital engineers, come." So four of us went. With us was also one of the vice presidents of Larsen and Toubro Construction Division, who also happened to be in Puttaparthi that time. So five of us were asked to come. So sitting outside Swami's interview room, we were all we all assumed that Swami is going to be very angry with us and say that you have disappointed me. You've not been able to complete the project. How is it going to be completed? And we really couldn't believe that it could be completed. So Swami came. He didn't call anybody else for interview that day. Just the five of us. Took us into the room, shut the door, switched on the light, and he saw our sullen faces. Serious. And he smiled. And he said, "The reason I've called you is to inform you that the Prime Minister of India is going to come to inaugurate the hospital. And I want my engineers to look smart. So I'm giving you safari suit lengths so that you stitch it now and you should look smart when I introduce you to the Prime Minister." So it was such an anticlimax. We were expecting something quite to the contrary. And then Swami told us that don't worry. Swami is very happy with the work. And he said, what the government would have taken 5 years to complete, Swami has done it in 5 months. So it will be done. Don't worry. The hospital will be inaugurated. So he called me aside and he gave us each, as I said, a safari suit length. And he gave me a 500 rupee note. He said, "You're not earning anything. And this is making charges for the safari suit." So I said, "Swami, the safari suit itself is enough. I don't need the money." He said, "If a father gives a son something, to refuse it is a sense of ego. So accept it." So I said, of course, I accepted the...
And also, I think when Bhagavan gave you the chance to begin the construction, you wanted the designs to be simplified, right?
Professor Keith Critchlow was an architect based in the UK who specialized in the design of this kind of structure, religious and whatever. So he was given a special assignment to come to India and select design motifs from Indian architecture to be used in the hospital building, which it did very successfully. But what it meant was very complicated construction. So each of the pillars has got, as you may have noticed, it has got certain designs on it. And that had to be done manually after casting the concrete. And that required the work of skilled sthapatis. And even a skilled sthapati with two helpers would take 2 to 3 days to finish one, right from top to bottom. And there were hundreds of them, And so we came up with a proposal to Swami saying that, "Swami, will you allow us to simplify it?" So we said that we'll make everything in the formwork of the concrete pillar itself. So when we pour the concrete, it will take the shape of that. It will be not exact, but after that it can be touched up and made to look the same. Swami said, "No. Nothing, I will not allow you to change anything from the external elevation. Good, bad, whatever it is, I don't care. But I will not allow you to change anything. Because I don't want anybody to say that, because the design was simplified, that it could be done in a short time. I want it as complicated as it was originally given." So we did that. And thanks to Larsen and Toubro and their resourcefulness, they went around all over South India, Madurai, Coimbatore, getting sthapatis, because we needed them in literally hundreds. we just couldn't allow, few to work. There was no way that we could have finished it in by November. So while the main construction was going on in the building, the sthapatis were working one by one, and it's so laborious. So he wouldn't allow us to do that. And if you ever see the original plan of the hospital, it had 2 floors in the front with corridors running on ground and first floor. Some elements like the CCUs on the first floor, but by and large, there was a corridor running the entire length of the hospital. Which, see, the building was designed by British architects, and probably they did not have an exposure to tropical climates, and so they in the West, because of severe winter, the all the services that require maintenance are usually housed in a secure place where even in winter, if something break down, they can go and repair it. Not so here. Even in the rainy season, it's not so difficult to do that. So they had proposed an entire floor of just about 8 feet height, 2.5 meters height or so, running the entire length of the hospital building, only meant for these services. So we made a proposal saying that if you're going to spend so much, why not increase the height of that particular floor and add another, give more space to the doctors to have whatever they wanted to. And services, we put them on the roof or in the false ceiling in the corridor, thereby giving them. So many of the things that you see now, nursing and ophthalmology, were not there in the original drawing. If you see that these things happened because there was extra space available. And so the doctors were very happy to utilize them. The day before the inauguration, 21st November night, there was a heavy downpour. Heavy downpour. It was as if, for maybe 2 to 3 hours, it was really heavy rainfall. And we had leveled everything in front of the hospital building. That chairs were going to be put up, VIPs are going to come, Prime Minister is going to come. And we all rushed to the hospital, and it was a sea. It was like a lake around the hospital. And we were wondering how on earth will the inauguration take place the following day with so much of water. Thanks again to resourcefulness of the Larsen and Toubro. They had a quarry not far from Puttaparthi. So overnight, maybe 100 more trips of crushed sand was brought from the quarry and just spread out over. So crushed sand has an ability to absorb moisture, and we had JCBs running throughout the night leveling it out. Next morning the sun was out, as it happens here. You have a heavy downpour. The next day was the bright sun. All water had dried up. Nobody could even make out that there was a heavy rainfall the previous day. Everything went off perfect without any problem. But it gave us a lot of nightmares. That night we couldn't sleep the day before the inauguration, because we were wondering that all this work of getting the building ready would be wasted if it cannot be. How will that guest sit in water? There is no way to do it. So, as I said, these incidents like this kept on happening on a daily basis almost. Something or the other. Equipment and services, everything in this hospital, all gases, oxygen, all are in concealed copper pipes. Usually in India, we keep it exposed so that if there's a maintenance issue, it can be done. But probably in the West, it is done concealed. So it was done concealed here. Again, we tried to change that and said, no, if it is concealed, it is concealed. Don't worry about it. So it's all in the first phase, it was all concealed.
Even the flooring.
So the flooring, what happened was, it was proposed granite and marble flooring. So granite, of course, when in the main corridor, granite was there. In the wards, there was marble flooring. And even in the toilets, there was marble flooring. So we as devotees were concerned that Swami is bearing all the expenses of this. And so we were always at loggerheads with Larsen and Toubro, trying to save money and trying to save wastage. We didn't want anything to be wasted because it's Swami's money. Yeah. So we hit upon a bright idea that, why don't we replace the marble in the wards with tiles? So I said, all right, I think it should be, easy to maintain also. So we again presented a proposal to Swami through Colonel Jogarao that Swami, please allow us to. And marble was also not easily available, that quantity. So Swami, Colonel Jogarao conveyed this to Swami, and Swami didn't say anything. Next time when Swami came for a visit, he took me and he said, don't worry about the money. He says, when a poor patient comes to the hospital, he should feel that he's come to a palace, that he is not being taken granted for. He is somebody. He will come and see that it's a beautiful place. So again, as I said, Swami kept telling me, he said, don't worry about the money. The money will come. You do your work. Don't worry about the money part at all. And I did. We saw, while the ICU beds in those days, 91, I think, was costing about 10 lakhs each because it was a very sophisticated bed. It had the facility for X-ray to be done while the patient was still lying on the bed because, the critically ill patient not able to move. So we were wondering, such expensive equipment, from where will it come? And while we were there was this overseas devotee who came and he said, we got to know later on, not that he said, I'll be happy to pay for hospital in these ICU beds. We have seen that one devotee came just before the inauguration, just before the inauguration, and said, this is a blank check. Put whatever figures you want. I'm paying for the cost of consumables for the first 6 months. I don't care what the amount is. Here is a blank check. Signed, take it and deposit. So these are, it was something which we have experienced and seen with our own eyes that, and Swami said, you don't worry about the expense. I will take care. You just concentrate on what I've asked you to do. So that's how it went. So Swami has been very specific with dates and with us, and never left it ambiguous when he wanted to. As I said earlier, not only decided the date on which my wife had to fly down to Nigeria for the first time, he also told us when to move from Bombay to Pune. So very, very clear, unambiguous.
And he has also protected your nephew, protected your niece.
Oh yes, he has. He has indeed. He has indeed. Our niece was in the UK suffering from a serious blood disorder, and her mother, my sister-in-law, not a Sai devotee, and suddenly she rings up and says, "This is what has happened. She is very, very serious. Can Sai Baba help?" So we didn't know what to do. My son was a student here, so I called him and says, "This is the thing. Can you inform Swami somehow?" So through the staff, the hostel staff, we managed to inform Swami. And Mr. Vednarayan is to stay inside Swami, and he came out and told my son that you wait. So after the boys had all gone back to the hostel, he was asked to wait. He waited for a long time. Then Vednarayan sir came out with 20 vibhuti packets, and he said, "Give it to your sister." And so we did. We managed to send them in 2s and 3s by mail, regular mail, to the UK. And she recovered. And she wrote a very nice letter saying that when the doctors had given up all hope, suddenly for some reason, her symptoms started improving, and they had not given any medication because they said that there's nothing we can do now, just to make her comfortable. And then suddenly, for no apparent reason, she started getting, and she's absolutely normal now. She has to take some medication, but she's running a normal life and absolutely fine.
And I guess as the days go by, more and more you become present to what Bhagavan has done for us, right?
Oh, yes.
As you reflect.
Yes, absolutely.
At that point in time, perhaps we didn't realize the immensity, gravity, and the magnanimity of Bhagavan's
Oh,
love.
yes. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I feel I'm guilty in the sense that we somehow took Swami for granted also, that, uh, we thought that, that the Swami's darshan would continue indefinitely, that we will be able to speak to him, uh, all the kind of access that we had uh, will continue. It didn't occur to us that, and I feel sad that, we had the opportunities that he gave us. We didn't make full use of it, perhaps. In Vrindavan, it was so easy and so informal in those days, in the 70s, that you could just stand up and Swami would come to you. And, we used to get books signed by him, and, anything, just photographs, just show it to Swami and he would come. Imagine my wife hiding from Swami, when this, uh, of course, she was not a devotee, so she probably didn't understand the significance. But uh, it was at that point, so different from what. So I don't know what to say really, but I'm thankful for the opportunity that Swami gave us and the family, and I'm happy to say that not only my son and daughter Gunaranjan, Sumana, they're all devotees, but this next generation also, my granddaughter also goes to Bal Vikas, and we hope that this kind of continuity goes on in the family, because with Swami in our lives, it has been a different thing. I sometimes think what life would have been if he had not come in. If we were not there, and I don't know what to. I don't even think about it. Uh, but when I see our relatives, our friends who are not devotees, and how they tackle a particular problem, we will look at it in a completely different angle than what they would, and it gives us a sense of deep comfort. And Swami keeps showing his presence. Just 3-4 days before we came from Pune, uh, Vibhuti appeared in our house, and uh, so Swami probably is just showing his presence, that uh, which is absolutely, and we are confident. We don't bother about things. That Swami, we just surrender to him, and we hope and pray that Swami keeps us on the right track, that we should not veer. That's my only prayer, that keep us on the right track, and we will try and follow whatever he has in store for us, which he has.
Thank you so much, sir. And I think it was a beautiful saga of his love that you have experienced. And as we listen to your stories, we too get a glimpse of his magnanimity. And he's touched so many people, and every person he's made them feel special. And listening to you, uh, it just brings back those memories in us also, and in every listener and every viewer. Thank you so much for taking us through this moving journey. Sairam.
Sairam, it was a privilege to be here, and our experiences are not unique. I mean, I'm sure uh, everybody has had some experience or the other with Swami. So I'm grateful for what Swami has given us. Yeah, I hope we were deserving, and we continue to pray for his grace and guidance. Sairam.